Everybody out there in the internet world, what's going on? It is Steve with, of course, the first episode of Steve Talks Video Games. I am your host. Let's go ahead and talk about the wonderful game Destiny. Has got so much publicity through Activision and Bungie because of course, Activision's background with Call of Duty and Bungie's background with Halo. That is a good thing in some eyes, and that is also a very bad thing in others. In this nice episode of STVG, I'm going to discuss my opinions and my thoughts about the game, the background of it, gameplay, everything as far as it goes, even down to the soundtrack. But I'm going to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. And at the very end, I'll go ahead and let everybody know if I should go ahead and give it a good rating or if I shouldn't. But for the top of the list, let's get down to the background. I was really hoping forward to this game just for the simple fact of not because of Activision, but because of Bungie. And of course, as everybody knows, Bungie's baby, first baby, not Marathon, but Halo. In my eyes, their first baby to me was Halo. Played multiple hours of the video game, and I just got into the whole sci-fi aspect of the video game itself, and I never really found myself into a sci-fi video game like that when I dumped so many hours into it, not only the campaign, but the multiplayer. When I heard of Destiny, I thought, holy shit, this is going to be great. It's an RPG mixed with an MMO, so a lot of people were going through and trying to place it as a Blizzard game. Let's use World of Warcraft, for example. A couple of friends that I game with thought that this was going to be a first-person example of World of Warcraft. I knew deep down in my heart I wanted something like that, but I knew it wasn't going to happen. Gameplay, for me, it's stunning. I love the graphics, and even when you're playing on the Xbox One and the PS4, it goes through and puts out in 1080p, which for me, it's a plus. Going through recording video and everything on, or just looking at the structures from afar through a sniper scope, it's really nice. Everything flows out very well. And Activision and Bungie went through, this is a 10-year publishing deal with this. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know. It's kind of hard to say right now, being that this is their first release, going into a pair as together, but for right now, it's not looking too promising. For me, a big downfall for me is going to be the simple fact of, like most games nowadays that I play, that I get into, it is almost like the company builds a full game and makes a full game, and then they go through and chop it at a certain point, call that the ending, and they give you more of the game, which is now downloadable content or DLC. It is not that bad, for the simple fact if you buy a Season's Pass, but trust me, the Season's Pass do not come cheap. They range anywhere from, you can get one for probably $20 for a low-end game, but mainly it's about $50 or $60 on an average cost. Me personally, did I go through and get a Season's Pass for this game? Hell no. There's a lot of games out there that I can go and play, and what I like to do is I rent games, or I try to get games on my console and everything beforehand before I go and actually purchase a full retail release of a game, for the simple fact I don't want to be screwed out of my money, because let's be honest, you guys, it's $60 for a game. It's not cheap, you guys. It is not cheap, and especially with them doing the whole digital release stuff. Do I want to pay $60 for a downloadable game that doesn't come with any artwork, doesn't come with an actual disc that you can lend to your friend? With the new generations, the new consoles and everything coming out, disc exchanging is going to be a thing of the past. But let's get back with the game. Character building. You can have 3 classes. You can have a Titan, a Warlock, or a Hunter. Myself, first playthrough, I went and I chose a Hunter. Overall, I do like this class. Only thing I don't like about it is when I was going through and finding all the dead ghost locations. There was one in particular, cannot remember the planet, cannot remember the mission or the patrol area. I could not reach it. It pretty much has to call for you to jump up and then jet back up to another spot after jumping off like a cliff, or I guess you can say a rock face or a ledge. It was very disappointing knowing that I had a full upgraded Hunter character and I could not obtain every dead ghost that I wanted to go and get for the achievement, but the achievement only calls for 50, and I got more than 50 dead ghosts that I found. So that is a plus. Maybe they took that into consideration sometime. I don't know. As far as character building, there is a skill tree upgraded system, and this works out pretty well. You gotta dump some time into it, and for people calling it a role-playing game or an MMO, it's really all in the eye of the beholder. For me, Destiny, I think you are very limited to what you can do because the story, the progression is okay once you're going through levels 1 to level 20, but life after level 20, you have to find light within your armor to go through and upgrade yourself. And if you want to go and participate in the multiplayer side, known as the Iron Banner, it all depends on your level and what you have for your weapon upgrades, because that is taken into consideration, and it does not match everybody out equally. Of course, matchmaking aside, you can go through and play free-for-all. You can go through and play pretty much capture the points or team deathmatch. Myself, always loved team deathmatch, always been a player like that. And Control grew on me a little bit. Skirmish, which is pretty much small team deathmatch where you can go through and revive your teammates. A lot of fun. But now that they had the first DLC out, I have been noticing that the weekly challenges and even some of the daily challenges is DLC only. So, is that a positive? Yeah, for the people that went through and got the season pass or bought the first DLC expansion. But it's, in my book, a negative. You're cutting down the consumers. Said it before, you have a full game, and you're cutting it down and giving it to us in parts. Release a full game. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Come on, guys. The soundtrack is going to be Bungie's main guy, Martin O'Donnell, or Marty, as a lot of people know him. From what I know is that Martin got fired or was terminated from Bungie. I have no idea. Martin went through and got let go from Bungie, and the last I know he was going through and filing a lawsuit of some kind because of it. I know Paul McCartney, and most people know Paul McCartney from the Beatles. He went through and composed some music for the soundtrack within Destiny. The things that I like about the game, I do like it has a Borderlands plus Call of Duty feel, so I say if those two game titles fucked, you get Destiny. I like the aspect of character customization. I do not like the random loot drops. I think it's very inconsistent, and I have had some issues when going through and have to decode. And probably the biggest downfall of all is just the plain lack of story. I cannot play a game mission over and over and over again by myself and just keep finding that replay value and enjoyment. For me, Destiny is a great game to go and play with your friends, but if you're gaming all hours of the night like I am, and I'm not up most of the time during the day to go through and play a game, I play mine at night, it is very hard and monotonous to try to find somebody to raid with without them going and dropping out right before the boss happens. And you get those people that will go through and try to loot as many places as they can to find that enemy spawn within a couple seconds where they can just run past a point and then come right back to keep on doing that, or jump off a cliff and having themselves respawn so they can go through and try to get a better loot reward at the end of a mission, end of a raid, or even whatever the enemies will drop as of loot. Me personally, never done it, cannot fucking stand it. For the lack of the game content, especially with the ending, I will not spoil it. I'm not going to give away the plot and the setting of this game. I will say go through and rent it, borrow it, enjoy it. Play it with friends. That is my recommendation. Play it with somebody who has gone through and played it before, or if not, yourself and 2 or 3 other people, go through and enjoy the game as a whole. 1 out of 10, I'll go ahead and give it a 7. If you guys agree with me, go ahead and let me know at Steve_gaming. For the first episode, that's going to be it, and I'll try my best to get back with you guys, and hopefully I'll talk to you guys here very soon. So thank you again for listening to Steve Talks Video Game for my first episode, and I'll talk to everybody soon.